Good morning. Today we have a new video on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you have the iPhone 14 Pro Max, sell it. Buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you have the iPhone 15 Pro Max, sell it and buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you have the iPhone 16 Pro Max, sell it and buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max again. But if you have the iPhone 17 Pro Max stolen from one of our factories in China, we'll track you down, but sell it and buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max. All right, so I have been using the iPhone 16 Pro Max for about a week and a half now. And I have to say, this is absolutely the worst, best phone ever. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. But first, I want to talk about the hardware of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The iPhone 16 Pro Max, as we know it, has a bigger screen, bigger body, and it's just zero point 0.2 inches bigger than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But do you really feel that difference? I'm here to say yes and no. So you do feel it when you're holding it in your hand. It just feels more complete in your hand, but you don't really notice that much of a big difference on the screen size. I mean, if you're watching content, you're not going to get the iPhone 16 Pro Max because you want the bigger screen, because the 0.2 inches that you're going to get, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. And I see a lot of people online talking about the bezels with the iPhone 16 Pro Max and 15 Pro Max. I really don't see a difference with the bezels. I mean, to me, they look very much the same. So the size of the phone is a welcome change, but doesn't really do much other than feel like you have a bigger phone in your hand. Also, talking about the screens, the brightness is the same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So if you want a brighter phone, you're not going to go with the 16 Pro Max. Although the heat improvements or the heat cooling improvements with the iPhone 15 Pro Max allows you to take advantage of the peak brightness on the phone a lot more than the 15 Pro Max. So other than the bigger screen and bigger size, you will have the same phone. I mean, yes, there's an extra button here, but the phone looks identical. The new desert titanium color is very, very nice. I think it's probably the best color Apple came out with, but it's not really a reason to upgrade. So overall, the hardware is okay. It's better than last year, and it's better than the year before and the year before that, but it's not really that exciting. All right, so everything on the iPhone 16 Pro Max is bigger than before, and everything on the iPhone 16 Pros are bigger than before. What else is bigger? The battery. And yes, the bigger battery will increase the battery life and make your iPhone have a better battery. But the thing is with batteries is that they degrade after a year, even after a few months. So you never want to buy a phone only for battery performance. You want to buy a phone for everything else, and you want to make sure that the battery can sustain everything else that you want to do on the phone. But just simply getting a new phone because your battery is degraded is kind of pointless, because you can upgrade your battery and you can buy power banks to compensate for the degradation on your phone. The iPhone 16 Pro Max does indeed have a better battery, a bigger battery. But what I'm more interested in is the cooling system. So as I mentioned earlier, the iPhone 16 Pro Max does have a better cooling system. It can cool down the battery a lot better, and it could cool down the phone a lot more when you're using the phone. And when I use my phone for filming or for editing or anything else that has to do with YouTube content, my iPhone 15 Pro Max gets extremely, extremely hot. That might be due to the A17 Pro chip on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but the cooling system is simply not good enough for the performance on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The 16 Pro Max does a better job with the cooling system, which might help with your battery health in the long run. So if you want to get a phone that might have better battery health in the long run, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is the way to go. But the battery life, again, is amazing. There's nothing really wrong with the battery life. It's probably the best battery life that I've had in an iPhone in a long, long time. But again, after a few months of use, using the battery the way I'm using it right now won't be the same. I won't have the same 7 to 8 hours of screen on time that I do right now. So again, battery life is good, but temporarily. So next thing I want to talk about are the cameras, because the cameras and the camera features are really what Apple pushes every year to upgrade. And a lot of people uses their cameras for different things. Instagram, family photos, YouTube. So there's a lot of different reasons why you would want to know about the camera on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And I'll talk to you guys in depth of my experience with the iPhone 16 Pro Max camera, talk to you guys about the features that Apple has been talking about, if it's useful, are they gimmicks? But yeah, I'll just give you guys my experience on the camera of this iPhone 16 Pro Max. All right, so now let's talk about the cameras on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So the iPhone 16 Pro Max does a great job at looking exactly like the 15 Pro Max when it comes to photos. I mean, the photos with the iPhone 16 Pro Max and 15 Pro Max look really identical unless you're really pixel peeping and you're zooming in. Then the AI on the 16 Pro Max does a better job at getting the details and really trying to show you the real thing that you're actually taking a picture of. If you're zooming out, in general, the picture will look the same, it just has same quality. There's not really much to really gather here from the photos, other than the new feature when it comes to styles. So the iPhone 16 Pro Max doesn't have filters anymore when it comes to photos. It's only styles. Styles kind of replaces filters. So you can put a specific look or color in your images, but you can tweak it a little bit more with styles. And you will have to tweak it because if you just put the default version on it, you're not going to like it too much and you're going to want to maybe change it up. But with the iPhone 16 Pro Max and 16 Pros, I can understand that because it's for pros, but you'll have to do the same thing even if it's for the regular phones. So it's kind of confusing. I think that most casual users would like to just put a filter on it and just not care about it after all. But with styles, it does encourage you to tweak it a little bit more to get the look that you want. And I can understand that for pros, again, but for casual users, it doesn't seem that it's actually the best way to go about it. But yes, styles is very, very good. It does look like you're actually not only just putting a filter on it, you're actually tweaking how the image is being taken. You can edit it after and you can also save your settings. So if you want your gold style to make maybe look more goldish, you can put it all the way to the max and it will stay at that setting when you go back on the camera or when you want to tweak your photos later. But again, it does look like Apple's removing filters. The simplicity of filters was something that was actually pretty cool and I used it often. So I will miss it. But I am someone that likes to tweak stuff and make it look a little bit more the way I want it to look. And with styles, you get a little bit more information and more customization, which is what a lot of people wanted from the iPhone. More customization and more control over how your pictures look. I always talk about Android pictures looking more vibrant and not really looking realistic, but they definitely look better than the natural look of the iPhone. But now you get to control that. You get to decide how you want your photos to look off the bat, not changing the image after you get it. You can put a setting and have your pictures look more vibrant, more punchy, more brighter, and you can keep that setting on and use that picture like that. So yes, the iPhone 16 Pro Max allows you to do all these customizations that you weren't able to do before. So that's a bonus when it comes to photos. The quality is not necessarily that humongous of a change, but the usage of the camera with pictures is a whole new game. It's not even the same. So yeah, if you're someone that likes customization and want to make your pictures look maybe more your pictures, then the 16 Pro Max is for you because you get to decide how they look. But now when it comes to video, the video doesn't have that styles function. So you just still have the filters that you can put in videos, but the videos alone are a lot better than the previous phones. The iPhone 16 Pro Max video is probably the best phone that has the better video quality out of every single phone that I've tested. And I tested the S24 Ultra, the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So the 16 Pro Max has the best video quality and you won't really find anything better than this one so far. If you're someone that likes to take videos, go with the iPhone 16 Pro Max no matter what type of video you do, because this is actually beautiful. The image quality, the color quality, the brightness of the videos are amazing. If you're someone that takes pictures but want more control over the camera and the way your pictures look, then yes, go with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But if you're happy with the way that the camera is on the previous phones, then you don't really need to really upgrade for the pictures because there isn't much you can do with this quality upgrade. It's pretty much the same. All right, so this is the big thing when it comes to the camera this year, is the camera control button. It's not necessarily a button, but it is. Apple doesn't really have anything new when it comes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max this year. other than the camera control. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is a good phone, a good camera phone, but the camera control doesn't really fit into how you use your phone. The camera control lets you control features that you already have on your phone on the screen, but once you use the camera control, it removes those features on your screen. The camera control isn't faster than using controls on the screen. It's not better, it's not more comfortable, it doesn't really change your pictures more than if you would use the features on the screen. It's just there. Camera control doesn't really add anything, doesn't really remove much, but it's just there. And the worst part is that you can only use it for camera features. The action button was actually pretty cool because you can use it for whatever you want. You can even use it for taking pictures, even opening up the camera. Not only that, the camera control is on the right side of the phone. If you're someone that's left-handed, you won't be able to use camera control much. You won't even be able to use it at all vertically. It's almost impossible. And horizontally, it's even harder than you would think. So camera control isn't really something that I would get, or I would get the iPhone for. I would say it's really just a gimmick. I wouldn't even be surprised if Apple removes it next year because it's an extra space that might not be used as much. But hey, I could be wrong. Maybe with Apple Intelligence on the way, the visual intelligence will be a feature that everyone would use with camera control. But again, Apple Intelligence is not here, and I have a whole rant dedicated for the Apple Intelligence. But for now, the camera control is really just a gimmick and not worth the upgrade. I would say that it's probably something that Apple wanted to focus on because there isn't much when it comes to visual difference and also physical difference when it comes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but it's there. So if you want it, you have it, but you don't really need it. All right, so there is one feature that I didn't use when it comes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and that's the audio mix. As you just heard, there's a loud truck that just passed and there's cars passing around. So I'm going to be changing the audio throughout this clip and you'll be able to tell me how it sounds. The audio mix feature is actually a very good feature that I actually was contemplating getting this phone for, because as you know, I am someone that uses my phone for my YouTube videos, and being able to use the 16 Pro Max to have better audio quality would be amazing. I mean, being able to have something that enhances your audio without using a Bluetooth microphone. So there are 3 modes. Well, there's 4 actually. There's the standard mode, like the regular mode when you're filming, but there's the in frame. In frame is when it actually focuses on the audio that's coming straight in focus. And there's the second one that's called studio. So studio gives you a studio-like audio quality. Not too sure what that means, but yes, it gives you a studio-like audio quality to make you more sound like you're in a studio. There's nothing else. It's almost like noise cancellation for the outside world. But then there's cinematic, which will focus on what you're saying. But then from there, it will kind of bring in some outside noise just to make it more like cinematic. So yeah, those are 4 modes, I guess. And that's how it works. I'm actually liking studio a lot, but cinematic just makes it really more natural. So let me know what you think of the ones that you just heard. Now comes to talk about the Apple Intelligence. It's simply not here. So Apple Intelligence is supposed to be the heart of the iPhone 16 lineup, and it's not ready yet. I saw a lineup of when, or a timeline of when the Apple Intelligence will be available, and I'm actually not happy with the way Apple is going with this rollout. I would hope that Apple Intelligence would just be available all at once at the same time with iOS 18, but it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like Apple wants to fragment Apple Intelligence, and Apple Intelligence is already as confusing as it can be, but fragmenting the features makes it even more confusing. Usually people that get iPhones, they get it because of the simplicity. But now with Apple Intelligence fragmented release, it kind of feels like an Android release. It doesn't really feel like you're getting an iPhone where everything is supposed to work. So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, even Apple said that Apple Intelligence is supposed to be the main focus with these phones, but it's not here, and it's not going to be here for another 6 months. Even the camera control is supposed to have an Apple Intelligence feature called Visual Intelligence, and even that's not here, and we don't know when that's going to be here. So yes, I think that Apple needs to restructure the way they're releasing their AI and need to focus on a better way to release it. I don't like the way that the tech industry is going in general. Has been going on for games, even movies, and now with phones. Well, it's been going on with phones for years, but it's kind of getting out of hand now. Main core features of phones are not being released on the day that the phone's being released. It kind of feels like when Xbox released the Xbox Series X without any exclusives. The 16 Pro Max really felt like an iPhone 15 Pro Max when I got it. There was nothing really different. Even if Apple Intelligence was here, Apple Intelligence should be on the 15 Pro Max as well. So if you're on a 14 Pro Max and you get a 16 Pro Max, you might not really see any difference when it comes to the software because the main part of the phone is still not here. I'm personally someone that would wait for Apple Intelligence if it's not available. Don't get a phone for Apple Intelligence right now. Just wait because it's not available right now and we don't know if it's actually going to be available for you to use in the next 4 to 3 months. So might as well just wait until everything is available and then you can upgrade your phone if you really want Apple Intelligence. The features that Apple announced on WWDC of this year, they're basic AI features. Android phones are already going to surpass all these features, like the Magic Eraser on the Pixel has been available for the last 2 years and is just now about to be available on the iPhone. So like even if those features do come in 4 to 6 months, it's not going to be that much of a big deal because these other phones already have these features and already have more than those features. So yeah, I just wish that Apple would focus and maybe restructure the way they're releasing the Apple Intelligence. I would have actually preferred for them to wait than to release it this way. But hey, I'm not an Apple CEO, so I don't know how it works. But I'm excited to try Apple Intelligence. So I will make another video talking about Apple Intelligence separately. But unfortunately, it won't be associated with this phone. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's the worst best phone ever. So yeah, that's that. Leave down in the comments what you think about this phone. Are you picking it up? Were you going to pick it up and change your mind? Or did you pick it up and actually love it? Let me know in the comments and see you guys on another video. Peace.